Hey everybody. I'm hoping that Brianna can request to join because it won't let me invite her. Let's see. There we go. Hey, yeah, can you request to join the live? Because it won't let me send you a request. And I know you're on my list. Yay, there we go. Hey, Chris, thanks for coming back. Yay!
Hooray!
Sorry about that. Usually I have a list. I can just send a request and
Yeah,
you're not there. I'm like,
the wonders
oh
of
no.
technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. For everybody that's
Oh, thank you
watching,
so
my name,
much.
yeah. For everyone that's watching, my name is Patricia. I'm with Crafter. We connect buyers to creators in the United States for custom commissions. And Brianna here is one of the creators on the site. So we wanted to take some time to get to know her better and to share her with all of you and all of her work. So if you don't mind, Brianna, can you introduce yourself and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Brianna Heida. I am in South Dakota, kind of in the middle of nowhere. But we have a beautiful area around us, so that makes up for the nowhereness. I've been an artist for pretty much my whole life, as long as I can remember, but didn't really start pursuing it seriously until I after high school, I became a professional photographer and a graphic designer, and I thought that
Okay.
was about as artsy as I could get. But then about 5 years ago, I became disabled by chronic illness and
Oh, okay.
completely threw myself into art full time.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. So then, so when about how long was that ago then? So you said you did the graphic design and then
Mhm.
photography, and then now you said that everything kind of turned upside down, and so when did that happen about?
I was about 30 years old, so about 8 years ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So I took a look at your background and your website. She has a website. It's is it
Yeah.
paintedprayers.org? Is it org? Okay.
Paintedprayers.org. Yep.
Yes, and you are a busy person. There's a lot going on that website, so I don't think we're gonna run out of things to talk about. But yeah, it did. It said you were. It also said you were a writer.
Yes.
So can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, again, been writing for, I think I wrote my first book when I was in third grade, and I was super proud of it and sure it was going to get published. And obviously it did not. But and then I wrote mostly poetry all through high school.
Hmm.
Had some really great teachers that mentored me in creative writing through high school and in college. And yeah, I still write. I am working on a book right now that combines my art
Awesome.
and my writing. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, I did really love you have a lot of watercolor that, and we'll talk about that in a second, that
Hmm.
has all the, is that your writing then? All the text, you'll put little strips of paper with
Yes.
writing and things like that, and those are really pretty. So I didn't know
Yeah.
if that was from you or from some
Yep.
kind of inspiration.
Yep.
That's
Nope. That's all
awesome.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. Um, and so you're also a mom, so I have to be
I
nosy
am.
and ask how many kids you have.
So yeah. So my husband and I, we've got four kids.
Wow.
They are 18, 16, 13, and 11. So busy, busy, busy.
Yeah, all teenagers, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you hanging in there?
Yeah. They're incredible kids, which helps a lot, but they
Oh,
do
good,
eat
good.
more than we anticipated. So
Yes, yes. Um, so I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So I'm in that
oh,
stage. So you're in a completely different.
fun. Yes. Different
Everyone warns me.
galaxies.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone warns me. They're like, you think toddlers are crazy, just wait till you get teenagers. So I'm not quite there yet. I just suppress it with denial.
Right, right.
I'll get there when I get there. Nice. Um, so then when do you think you really got into watercolor? Because I don't think we touched on that
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. So I actually do mixed media. So there's some watercolor, there's acrylic,
Okay.
I like mixed media because there's no rules and I am a
Yes.
fan of that. So I can throw
Yeah.
anything I want on the canvas and be like, no, it's okay,
Yeah.
it's art. Um,
Yes. Yes.
so,
Exactly.
yeah, but so it was about 8 years ago that I really got into taking it all more seriously,
Mhm.
and it was probably 6 or 7 years ago I started the whole painted prayers. It started with actually an art project, 100 painted prayers, and so I was
Okay.
doing a series of 100 of those paintings, which was
Oh, wow.
insane but super
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of things like in the art community, like Inktober, where everyone's like,
Yes.
okay, it's a full month of I'm going to draw, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I have never heard of anyone doing 100 paintings.
Right.
Did you do that like once a day, or you just had a goal of I'm going to do 100
No,
paintings?
it was just, yeah, it was just a long-term goal. So there wasn't
Oh, okay. Because
any
I was going to say,
specific. Yeah, no, that would be very ambitious.
I was going to say, I mean, hey, good job, but I was like, that's a lot.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's fun. So then I also saw that you had a podcast. I actually listened
Mhm.
to the one that you have listed now. It was on setbacks, if I remember right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and you did that with your husband, Dustin. Was it Dustin?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. So is he usually on the podcast with you?
A lot of times I sort of mix it up. I just want an excuse to have really good conversations. And so sometimes it'll be with a friend, sometimes it's with my husband. I've done a couple with my oldest daughters, which was really fun.
Oh, that's nice.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just about the conversation more so
Yeah,
than, yeah.
that's fun. And then remind me, the podcast is called, is it Creative Salvation? Is that the name of the
Yes.
podcast?
Yep,
Okay,
that's the name of it. Yep.
very cool. Now I had more questions too, because again, a lot going on your website. You had it's called a Wonder Community. So is that for your immediate community around you that you support, or who is that for?
That's actually, it's an online community that I'm building. And
Okay.
it sort of helps to, a lot of the work that I do is sort of seated there at the intersection of faith and creativity.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what the idea behind Wonder is it's about getting curious and creative in conjunction
Mhm.
with like Bible journaling and scripture
Right.
reading and all that kind of stuff. So
Right. And so for the community, is there anybody specifically that would be a good fit for that, or is it kind of open, or how does
it's
that?
it's very open, and honestly, anybody who is a little lost or intimidated when it
Mhm.
comes to exploring their faith, that's the perfect person for this, because it really will help sort of take down the intimidation factor and help you
Yeah.
make it more playful and curious,
Yeah.
and that's so much better.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing is art is such a wide medium
Yes.
that, it should be something that you should be able to just kind of explore and have fun with. So that I think that is a good opportunity for people to
Mhm.
kind of meet together and have fun and enjoy each other's company. And that's cool. So
Yeah.
is that something that you do with the community? Is it something people could do online or is it
Yes.
only local? It is
Nope, it is.
online.
Yep.
Okay.
Everything I do is online because ever since becoming disabled with this chronic illness stuff,
Mhm.
my world has been super limited to online. And so
Gotcha.
that's the place that I've been called to show up, right? And so I've just
Right.
kind of rolled with it.
Well, and two, and I don't want to pry either, but depending on what's going on, especially with COVID going, you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
have with anything autoimmune based, you really do have
right.
to protect yourself and your family. So I
Yep,
completely can appreciate that.
yep.
Um, Now you do have, let me see, you had your podcast and you have a course too, I think you teach, don't
Hmm.
you? A course?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to work through, I'm trying to remember all of it.
I know. It's a lot going on.
Yeah, yeah. So then essentially you want to teach other people how to manage this community or what's the course for?
So the course, it all sort of revolves around using art as a spiritual practice. So
Okay.
kind of along the lines of yoga, but with creativity instead of movement. And so
Okay.
it's about using abstract art principles and
Okay.
techniques, and then tuning into sort of your inner self and your
Very
higher
cool.
power and all that stuff.
Very cool. Okay, so essentially you have people that can join the community to be a part of it just to kind of get their feet wet and
Hmm.
like be
Hmm.
involved. And then you have people that you want to join that can essentially lead these classes anywhere. And this is anywhere, right? This
Yes,
doesn't have to be limited because it's online.
it is.
Okay, very cool.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. I was just trying to like make piece all the
I
puzzles
know, I know.
together. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
think I need like a map on my on my website that says you're here and then like outlines where
no,
you're
really,
supposed to go from there.
I feel your pain 100% because I feel like when I explain my business crafter to people, it's like I have to go through this whole thing, and it's like, no, I
Right.
gotta simplify, simplify, simplify. Um, yeah, and it's tough because you
It
want to
is.
tell people all the things, you get excited about it, and you're
Yes.
like, wait, just need to have your little elevator pitch that you're like, it's this, and they go, cool.
Exactly. Yes.
I can appreciate that. So I guess one of my other questions for you is what's your favorite thing to do creatively? Is it, at this point, is there something
Ooh.
like a specific medium or even a topic or something that you really just enjoy?
Boy, that's hard. That's like picking a favorite kid.
It's a loaded question.
Yeah. I think
You're
so.
welcome.
My favorite thing, honestly, I would say it's probably my like personal practice. And
Okay.
so, I do a lot of stuff where I'm making things to sell or I'm making things to commission for people, or things for a specific purpose. But when I have the opportunity to just sit in my own practice and just
Mhm.
be in my creative flow and not have
Yeah.
a reason for it, like that's the best. That's the absolute
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, because then you don't have a lot of restrictions and it's
Right,
just to
right.
have fun.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. Um, cool. So I saw so from your work, I get the mixed media thing, so I'm glad we did this because I've seen you do watercolor obviously on canvas, but
Mhm.
I've also seen you use, like you did mixed media, you used other items that you've
Mhm.
painted. I love your ornaments. I'm like fixated on
Aren't they
those.
so fun?
They're so cute. So for anybody who hasn't seen her page or my page yet, whoever's watching, I'm so happy everyone's watching. Hi everybody. Um, so if you haven't seen, she takes these cute Christmas ornaments and she watercolors essentially the back of them, and they're super cute.
Mhm.
So if anyone's thinking about holidays,
Right? We're
commission
coming
her
up
for
on
these
it.
cute ornaments. So yeah, no, I really those are probably one of my favorites that I've seen. And then the ones that you, like I said, the watercolor where you put the little um the writing. I
The
want to know more
poetry.
about your book. Can I pick your brain about the book?
Yeah. Yeah,
So tell me more
absolutely.
about that.
So, again, lining up with sort of my spiritual practices, over
Mhm.
the series of Lent, so like the time leading up to Easter
Yes.
of this last year, I had a daily practice. Instead of giving
Mhm.
something up for Lent, like
Right,
traditionally
yeah.
was done, I
Right.
decided I was going to sit in practice every single day for Lent. And so I was going to paint. And so they're just
Okay.
like 7 by 10 paper. And then I did
Okay.
inks and all sorts of stuff all over them. But
Interesting.
so I have a series of 40 of them that I did, and each one I also wrote a prayer poem to go with it.
Okay.
And so,
Awesome.
so now
I
I'm
think
taking that.
are those on your Instagram page?
Yes, yep, they
Yes.
are.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so if you go to my Instagram page, you can scroll down, you can see all 40 of
Yes.
them laid out there.
Awesome.
So it's a lot. But so yeah, so I'm taking all of those and putting them into a book to release,
Awesome.
hopefully by Lent this year, but we'll see kind of how that plays out. But yeah,
That's
so
awesome. Well, do you have a title for the book yet?
I do, I think, but I'm kind of going between a couple of them
If
yet. So,
Okay, so when you know, just tell me and we'll let everybody know.
okay, perfect. Deal.
We'll update. I don't want to ruin, I don't want to get too far ahead because I don't know when the process that's
Right, right.
I've never written a book, so I don't know what the rules are.
Yeah.
So, that's awesome. That's so good. Your work reminds me, and I haven't interviewed Erin yet, but Erin's another creator on the site, and she
Oh,
does a lot of abstract painting, but she does very much emotional painting from not a
mm,
hundred, like that's not the only thing she does. She's done other commissions, but um, I like that about her because I feel like it's abstract, but she still have that emotion, that
yes.
feeling, that energy behind it.
Right,
And I like
right,
that because it's kind of the same, like you're saying, you're pulling from yourself and making something from it, whether it's the
right.
writing or the art or both. I really
Both,
like when
yeah.
you do both. I
I know
kind of
I do
love that.
too. I do
Yeah.
both.
Well, yeah, good. And so that's really great. That's really fun. I love that. Um, so I'm trying to think. Right now, so you're building this community. When did Painted Prayer start, if you don't mind? Was that 8 years ago as
So
well, or
no, so that actually was 5.5 years ago, almost 6 years, I think, that
six
we
years
that it
ago?
became an
Awesome.
official nonprofit.
Oh, very cool. Very
Hmm.
cool. That's awesome. 'Cause I was curious about that too, about how that's going. Everything's going well with that?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Even with COVID? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, even with COVID.
Yeah, and it's good that it's online for that too. I forgot that it's online. I keep getting fixated on like when I think of a painting class, I think of everyone in like a big studio. You know what I mean? Like, and
Right.
I'm like, no,
Oh
no.
yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah,
it doesn't have to look that way. It's actually been really cool to see the way that it works virtually. And
yeah.
just, yeah, the connection is still there.
And that's great too because there are a lot of people that are looking for resources like that to say, okay, I'm stuck in my house. I have
Hmm.
cabin fever. What can I be doing that's still
Right,
artistic and fun to do? So that
right.
is great. Okay,
And
very
and
cool.
even beyond just the current circumstance of COVID, I mean, we're so busy that it's hard to
Mhm.
find the ability to carve out time to go to a class or to go do something. And so if this
Yeah.
is something like you can, put the kids to bed in the evening and you get like half an hour to
Mhm.
yourself and you can, really be present for that without
Oh, that's
the drive time and the babysitting and everything else. So,
yeah. So it's good for parents then, is what I'm hearing.
yes.
Good for parents who are tired and just want to do something for themselves,
Yes, exactly.
which we all appreciate because the only time this is why I'm meeting with you so late is because my kids are asleep.
Exactly. No, exactly. As soon as I saw what time, I was like, oh, I get it. Yep, totally.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm like, how can I do this in a way where my kids aren't in the camera with their face? You know how kids always are
Right.
like,
Yes.
awesome, awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to tell people about you, or is anything I'm missing?
Oh gosh. I don't know. We covered a lot.
We did. We talked about. I'm excited to see more about your podcast. I have not done any podcasts. I've done these live interviews, but I have not done any podcasting. But that is an interesting medium.
Yeah.
So it would be cool to see more of what you do with that. And you had a good amount of them on there. There was like what was your episode? What episode? Was it
Uh,
25 maybe, something
14,
like that?
15. I
Oh,
have no
14?
idea.
I thought it was
I
more
don't,
than that.
I honestly don't know.
You're like, I do them
Because
when
I'm
I do them. It's
terrible.
fine.
I
Okay,
do
sorry.
them and then I
That's
throw
like
them
you
out into the
asking
world.
me. Yeah, it's like you asking me how many YouTube videos I've done. I don't know.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah.
100% fair. Um, oh, another thing you had on there was teacher retreats, and I did not know what that was.
Yeah. So when I got really sick and I stopped being able to go out and teach the workshops that I was doing to start with,
Mhm.
I finally admitted that I needed help. And so I started to train
Mm,
people to do this on their own. So like
gotcha.
not only can they do it personally, but they can teach other people how to do it too. And so that
Mm,
has been super cool. I've got
yes.
18 instructors all across the country who
Oh,
now
that's
do
so fun.
workshops and yeah, it's way fun. I even have somebody in South Africa who
Oh, I
is,
love that.
mhm.
There's a woman that I know, and I don't know if she's probably not on Instagram. I don't think she has an Instagram account. She does a Trades of Hope where she helps women overseas who sell items and stuff to
Oh,
help
nice.
them. It's wonderful. I should connect you guys because I
That
think
would
you'd
be great.
really be wonderful. I'm already thinking. Sorry, I'm like
I
thinking
know.
like
I
who do
love
I
that.
know that knows?
Right, right.
No,
No, it's
but
so
yeah,
great.
after we finish this live, I will totally look that up for you. But she does a program that's similar.
Sure.
But yes, I'll absolutely. I think that'd be a wonderful connection. And so that's pretty awesome. 18 people. That's a good amount of
Yeah.
people that are doing this then.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
started that? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good
Yeah,
for you.
I don't know how. It just happened.
No, that's amazing though. That's so good. You should be proud of yourself. That's
Oh,
amazing.
definitely. Yeah.
So then, so they're all over, and then are they in the United States, or you said you had someone overseas, over one
Mhm.
person overseas, but
Yeah.
they're mostly here?
Yeah,
Okay,
mostly. Yeah.
amazing. Okay. And then trying to think of what else I want to bug you about. If there was something you could be working on that isn't related to what you're doing now, doesn't have to be art, what would you work on?
So I always have so many things going on, and I get myself in trouble because then I get new like creative toys, and then like that's how the ornaments came about. I got a laser engraver, and I was like, oh my gosh, what else
I
could I
love
make with
that.
this?
Please make
Um,
more.
I know, I know. I have been actually right before I jumped on here, I was scrolling through online trying to find a really good, inexpensive glass muller because I want
Oh,
to start making my own paints.
oh,
Using
yeah.
so yeah, so I think that would probably be my answer is like I have a wild hair right now that I want to start making my own paints and just see what
Oh, that's
happens.
cool. You're gonna have to tell me more about that because I don't even know how that process works. Do you know?
Yeah, it's actually it's
I
pretty
don't.
simple. But you basically have like a some sort of a glass surface, like a glass block or something,
Right,
and then you put your pigments on there. So you can
right.
source pigments from any
Yeah,
there's so many options out there. And then
right.
you have to, if you're making watercolors or if you're making acrylics, you have to figure out what your base is going to be basically,
Okay.
and then you pour that in to the like the center of your pigments, and then you use this like cool glass knobby looking thing,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
you just swish it around and crush it in and mix it all up, and then you've got a paint. And so you can customize your own
Do you like
colors.
cooking?
I do, yes.
That's why
So
you're gonna
this
do
is like,
this.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
really
this
what
is
it
starting
is.
to sound like a lot of ingredients and mixing, and I'm like, she likes to cook.
Yes.
She's like, I'm gonna be cooking up paints in my art room.
Yeah,
That's so
exactly.
fun. So, what is your favorite color that you would try to do?
Teal.
Teal.
I
That's a
am a
good color.
sucker for a good teal. Yeah.
You have it behind you. I see you.
I
Oh, that's
do.
something else. Yeah. I was gonna ask you if you had any examples of stuff to show people because that was something we haven't
Yeah.
done yet.
Yeah. So I've got, I'm trying to see what all paintings I have right behind me here. So like most of my work is pretty abstract.
Hmm.
So it's not necessarily, I mean, sometimes something will surprise me and pop out, but for
Right.
the most part, it ends up being
Yeah.
fairly abstract. This one was kind of cool.
Yeah. With the drips.
Yeah. So let's see. Got that one. I thought I had a couple more over here, but maybe not. So, but yeah, and then the other, I mean, like I said, I dabble in all sorts of different mediums. So, like, I've got alcohol inks,
Oh yeah.
which are really fun to
Oh,
explore.
that's fun.
Interior.
And that's you use a hair dryer, don't you? You like put it on on whatever. I don't even know what surface you'd use them on. What kind of
Yeah,
paper?
yeah. So you can use it. I use Yupo paper because
Notebook paper.
it doesn't dry very quickly on it. It's like a
Oh, okay.
it's technically plastic, which is
Like a
bizarre,
wax.
but
I don't want to say wax paper, but like
n-
that kind of.
not quite. Not quite. It's almost like glossy photo paper,
Okay.
more or
Okay.
less. But yeah, but so it extends the drying time, so you have more time to work with it and kind of have some fun with
Yes. Because I've seen
blending.
there's other artists that are that I follow on Instagram um that do a lot with the was alcohol ink, is that what you said it was?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, it seems like it's really like a process. And they usually will
Hmm.
use, I've seen them use a hair dryer to blow it around and make it go where they want it to
Yep.
go and like do all this stuff. Um, and yeah, that's like a whole that's like a whole thing.
It
So
is. It
that
is.
sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty
I
cool to
have
see all the different. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I have ADHD, and so like that completely comes through in my art because then I'm like, that's why I have to do mixed media because I have to use
Yes.
all the things.
You're
But
like, you
yeah,
know what this
so
needs? More stuff.
yep, yep, exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, that's pretty much all the questions that I had. Is there anything I'm forgetting? Anything else you want to mention?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, for everyone watching, thank you so much for joining our live. We really appreciate you. Thank you, Brianna, so much for joining us today. If you haven't had a chance, check out her profile on KRFTR, and of course her Instagram. We'll be tagging it on here. And we all thank you so much and have a good night.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you so much. You have a good one.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.